So welcome to my review of Days Gone by Bend Studios, created exclusively for the PlayStation 4. Now, this game has been in development for a long time. I think it started in about 2015, and I've been seeing trailer after trailer, gameplay footage after gameplay footage, and I was intrigued. I'm like, okay, it's another kind of like an open world zombie style of game, but what really is it? And this is what I do want to say first of all. It's a little bit of The Last of Us, it's a little bit of Resident Evil, there's a little bit of Red Dead Redemption in there, a little bit of Tomb Raider, with a sprinkle of Grand Theft Auto. Yes, all those things are in there. I'll explain all of these things here. It's like The Last of Us in the style and the idea that you're kind of on your own in this post-apocalyptic style of world, and there's zombie style creatures that are called freakers in this game coming after you. So in that way, that's kind of how it's like The Last of Us. How it's like Resident Evil is kind of like, it's a bit of survival horror, watching your weapons and your ammunition at times and getting attacked by, guess what? Zombies. There's a style of zombies, I will say. Also, it's a little bit like Red Dead Redemption in that it's an open world game. You can kind of go anywhere, do anything at any time, select different side missions. So in that way, it's like Red Dead Redemption. It's like Tomb Raider in the sense that there's a lot of crafting elements and things that you can collect around the world setting. That's why it brings it into there. And Grand Theft Auto in the sense that you're riding around on a bike and it's an open world style of game. So, okay, that's, I know a lot of people have been wondering what kind of game it is. That's the best way I can kind of sum up all those parts. But it's also a little bit more than that. We'll start off with the story to begin with, and this is a no spoilers review. I'm not giving any spoilers about the storylines and what happens. I'm just going to give a brief outline of the characters and a little bit of the direction it goes in. And you start off playing as Deacon, and that's played by Sam Witwer, and you're kind of a bounty hunter off in this post-apocalyptic world. Certain creatures have developed over time called the Freakers, and you're defending yourself and your friends against them, and you're also discovering other settlements out there. There's other human settlements that have built up, and you become friends with some of them. Some of the people you're not friends with. So there's a little bit of that going on. And I will say this, there's some really cool ways of discovering the story in this. Some of them are flashbacks. So you'll play flashbacks about what the characters were doing in their past. And that's how you get to learn about their backstory and about who they are as people now. And you can understand their actions and why they do certain things and why they're motivated certain ways. But how is the story? Is it engaging? Is it interesting? At first, I must admit, it seemed very simplistic to me. And then as you get going, there's government elements in there, and you start to find out a little bit more of the creatures in this world. I mentioned them before, the Freakers. You get to learn a little bit more about them. They're not just the classic zombie style of thing. They look like that, but there's a little bit more to them than that. So the story gets more interesting as you go along. I was kind of, at the beginning, I was kind of semi-lukewarm on it, and near the end, I was like, hey, this is kind of getting somewhere. This is a lot more interesting. Now I'm going to talk about the graphics here, and these are really, really nice. This all takes place in the Pacific Northwest, and there's some beautiful landscapes here. This, as I say, is an open world game, so your open world has to be good. It has to be believable. You have to feel that you're living in it, and you really do. I gotta say, the trees, the waterfalls, the bushes, the grass, the rain, the dynamic weather system, all comes together incredibly well. And I remember so many times just standing there with my character and looking around at all the trees blowing in the wind, and I was like, wow, because you see each individual leaves, blowing, and you're really taken back by it, and you really believe the world setting, and especially, the day and night system and the rain when it comes in. It creates for a very believable world. Okay, now we get into the gameplay. And there's a lot to talk about here. I'm going to talk about as much as I can get through, because just to talk about the gameplay alone, you could spend an hour talking about every single aspect. And we'll start off with how you traverse the world. Obviously, you can just run around as Deacon through the wilderness, but your main mode of transportation is your motorcycle. And you'll be on this quite a lot. It's almost like the horse is to Red Dead Redemption. That's what the bike is here. So you'll be riding it quite a bit up hilltops and down roads, and then you'll get to cars in the middle of the road. You can jump off your motorcycle, move those cars out of the way, continue on. At times, your motorcycle will run out of gas, so you gotta find gas around. But the great thing is, you'll get on your map at any time. It'll show you where you can get little, there's gas icons and where you can get more gas. So that's something that's kind of believable. Your bike can also sustain damage, so you have to repair it. You can also upgrade your bike and put different parts on it and give it nitrous for a speed boost there as well. So just for the bike aspect alone and traversing the world, that's that aspect. Next up is the weapons. You can hold a few weapons. Obviously a melee weapon, so you can just pull out a bat or an axe just for, attacking the freakers, which feels very, very nice. But you can get rifles, you can get handguns. All of these can be upgraded by going to encampments, settlements with other humans there, and they will sell you different augmentations for all of your different weapons. So you can upgrade all of that. At any given time, you can upgrade your skills. You're always, if you finish missions, you get experience points that you can use on your character to upgrade certain abilities there. I just want to say here, there's a lot of customization to talk about. There's a lot to do. So know that if you're kind of going in saying, oh, is this just a simple kind of action game? Yes, in a lot of ways it is, but there's a lot of ways to customize your character, get the most out of it, customize your bike and your weapons and your character himself. And this is not just a run and gun game. There's quite a lot of stealth elements. At any point you can scan your environment and see what is around you. If you're on certain missions, you can see if you're trying to find a certain bounty that will show up on the map and a surrounding area around you. And you can go into stealth mode by just sneaking around. You crouch down, you try to stay in tall bushes and things like that to stay out of the light and to stay out of the view of enemies. And there's a lot of enemies in this world. Obviously, there's the wildlife in the sense that you'll see deers running around, you'll see birds in the sky, but you'll also be riding your motorcycle, you'll be attacked by wolves. The first time that happened, I'm like, what? What is happening here? And then you'll also get attacked by infected creatures. So there's also infected wolves out there, so you gotta watch out for them as well. So at any point you can follow the main missions in the game. You can do a lot of side missions, and a lot of them are really good. Like you'll go to a graveyard, you'll be looking for a certain tombstone, things like that. So there's a lot of diversity in the missions and things that you can do. But I do want to say that you are riding around in the motorcycle quite a lot. So for anybody who didn't like Red Dead Redemption because they felt you were riding on the horse too much, well, you're riding on the motorcycle a heck of a lot. But I think they do this quite well, that a lot of the times you'll be going down a road, there'll be a jump you can go off. They kind of flavor up the world. It's not just straight, boring, narrow stuff. You'll be going down a certain road and into a mountain underpass, and there's zombies there, and all of a sudden you have to jump off your motorcycle, you have to move cars out of the way, and you have to fight off the undead. But it's not only the undead you have to look out for, it is also living human rogues, bounty hunters that are just hunting humans. They're after you, they have a bounty for you, so you'll be riding your motorcycle through a foresty area, and you'll get a sniper shot to the head, and you're like, where the hell did that come from? It knocks you off your bike, and then other bounty hunters, sneak up on you, and you got to take them out as well. So the world is full. There's a lot of stuff going on here. There's always a lot of stuff to defend against. And as you're going through the world, you'll see nests. These are created by the freakers. What you want to do is burn these out. This is a lot of other side missions of just burning out the freakers' nests. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot of missions to go through. The game overall is about 30 hours long, and that's not including doing all of the stuff that you can do with collecting items and upgrading your equipment and doing all of the side missions and getting to all of those nests. And so that kind of brings me to this point. How is the game? I think a lot of people were thinking it was The Last of Us. It is not. It is its own game. The one thing that I will say to be, how I started this review off was saying it was like all of those other games. That's really what this is. This is a very safe game. And I'm not saying that as an insult. It does everything very strongly. There's nothing that you go, oh, the voice acting was really weak, the voice acting is really good, or, oh, the animation there is really bad, or, oh, that enemy looks stupid, or the graphics aren't very good, or the music isn't very good. The music's very good as well, by the way. It really fits the mood and atmosphere and ambiance of this game. Everything does what it's supposed to do very, very well. And I really enjoyed this game. But yet, at the same time, it doesn't elevate and do enough new things. But to say that is an insult to the game because there is so much to do in this world. I really enjoyed my time with it, but at the same time I thought, man, I was expecting a little bit more. And I don't know why I was expecting that. Like, when you see hordes and hordes of zombies coming after you, it's a sight to behold, and it's terrifying, and it's exciting. It's everything that you kind of want in this style of game. And in that way, it doesn't disappoint. So this, for me, is a definite 8 to 8.5 out of 10. I'm going to give it an 8.5 because I think there's a lot of deep development here. They really cared about the characters. They really created an amazing world to explore, and it's a lot of fun. That's for sure. Riding around on your motorcycle, quite a lot, for sure, but you will have fun. If you've been looking forward to this game, you're kind of like on the fence about it, don't be. You're going to get something out of this. As I say, nothing in it offends. The graphics don't offend. The gameplay doesn't offend. Everything is very, very solid here. So anyways, guys, until next time.